On January 5, 2024, an Alaskan Airlines Boeing 737 MAX took off into the skies like any other routine commercial flight. The aircraft carried 171 passengers and 6 crew members, all expecting a smooth journey. But what happened shortly after takeoff stunned not just the passengers on board, but the entire aviation industry. While the plane was at cruising altitude, a panel used to cover an unused emergency exit door suddenly blew off. A loud bang shook the cabin. Oxygen masks dropped from overhead compartments, and passengers screamed as freezing wind and cabin pressure filled the aircraft with chaos. Pilots immediately declared an emergency and safely returned the aircraft to Portland International Airport. Miraculously, no lives were lost, and the detached door panel landed on the ground without harming anyone. But the incident triggered alarm bells globally. The aircraft involved was only 2 months old. How could such a catastrophic structural failure happen on a brand new plane, built by one of the world's most prestigious aerospace companies? As investigations progressed, the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board revealed that the panel had been removed and reinstalled during production. Crucially, 3 bolts meant to secure it were never fitted. It was a basic failure of quality control, something that should have been caught long before delivery. The aviation world was stunned. How could Boeing, an industry titan known for engineering This wasn't the first time Boeing's reputation had been shaken. The 737 MAX was already infamous for 2 deadly crashes just a few years earlier. On October 29, 2018, Lion Air Flight 610 crashed into the Java Sea just 30 minutes after taking off from Jakarta, Indonesia, killing all 189 people aboard. Then, on March 10, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 300 crashed 6 minutes after takeoff from Addis Ababa, killing all 157 passengers and crew. Both aircraft were 737 MAX models, and both crashes were traced to a new software system called MCAS, which Boeing had introduced to counterbalance changes in the aircraft's aerodynamics caused by larger, more fuel-efficient engines. The core problem was this: Boeing had retrofitted the new engines onto the existing 737, designed to save time and money. These engines were bigger and positioned farther forward on the wing, which changed the plane's center of gravity and made it more prone to pitching upward. To correct this, Boeing added MCAS, a software system that automatically pushed the nose down if it sensed the aircraft was climbing too steeply. But MCAS relied on just one sensor, the angle of attack sensor. If that single sensor malfunctioned, MCAS could activate erroneously, forcing the plane's nose down, even when it wasn't necessary. That's exactly what happened in both crashes. The system activated repeatedly, overpowering the pilot's attempts to regain control. And Boeing never told pilots about MCAS. It wasn't mentioned in training manuals. Airlines were unaware of it. Even the FAA had not fully reviewed the system before certifying the aircraft for commercial use. The backlash was swift and global. By March 2019, aviation regulators worldwide grounded the entire 737 MAX fleet, 387 planes in total. Boeing's stock plummeted. Lawsuits piled up. Public trust evaporated. The company faced criminal investigations and was fined $2.5 billion in a settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice for misleading regulators. And the scrutiny didn't stop there. Whistleblowers from inside Boeing began speaking out. John Barnett, a former quality control manager at Boeing who had worked there for over 3 decades, revealed deeply troubling information. He said Boeing was installing substandard or even previously scrapped parts on new planes to save costs. He claimed he had reported these issues multiple times internally, but instead of being taken seriously, he was demoted. After retiring, Barnett filed formal complaints with federal authorities. In 2024, after the Alaskan Airlines incident, he filed a new lawsuit against Boeing. But on March 9, just before a scheduled court appearance, Barnett was found dead in his car with a gunshot wound. Police labeled it a suicide, but his family disagreed. He had told them explicitly that he would never take his own life. His death remains under investigation. To understand how Boeing arrived at such a perilous moment, we need to go back decades. Founded in 1916 by William E. Boeing, the company started as an engineering powerhouse. It built cutting-edge airplanes, satellites, rockets, and defense systems. For most of the 20th century, Boeing was synonymous with innovation. In 1969, it introduced the Boeing 747, the iconic queen of the skies, which revolutionized long-distance travel. People trusted Boeing so much that a popular saying emerged: "If it's not Boeing, I'm not going." But in 1997, everything began to change. That year, Boeing merged with rival McDonnell Douglas in a $14 billion deal, one of the largest in aviation history. Though Boeing was a larger company, many critics argue that the corporate culture of McDonnell Douglas, which prioritized profits over engineering, gradually took hold. The new Boeing became less focused on technical excellence and more driven by shareholder returns. Where engineers once led, This shift became more evident in the 2000s. Boeing began outsourcing large portions of its aircraft manufacturing to suppliers around the world. The Dreamliner, launched in 2004, was the first major aircraft to be largely assembled from outsourced parts, a strategy that led to delays, quality issues, and rising costs. But it was the race against Airbus that led to the most catastrophic decision of all. In 2010, Airbus unveiled the A320neo, a re-engined version of its best-selling A320 jet. The new engines were quieter, cleaner, and far more fuel-efficient, instantly attracting airline customers. Boeing needed a response, and fast. Instead of designing a new aircraft from scratch, which would have taken years, Boeing decided to modify its aging 737 platform once again. The result was the 737 MAX. The MAX used new LEAP-1B engines that were significantly larger than previous engines. Because of the 737's low ground clearance, Boeing had to mount the engines higher and farther forward on the wings, which altered the plane's balance. This design flaw is what led to the need for MCAS. But instead of redesigning the airframe or adding redundant sensors, Boeing rushed development, skipped critical safety testing, and concealed the software from regulators and pilots, all to get the plane certified quickly and protect its market share. When the crashes occurred, internal documents later revealed that some Boeing employees had joked about the flaws in the MCAS system, even calling the aircraft designed by clowns, supervised by monkeys. Emails showed that safety concerns were dismissed to meet deadlines. It was a damning indictment of Boeing's corporate culture. Even after the aircraft was cleared to fly again in late 2020 following extensive modifications, recertifications, and pilot training, the damage to Boeing's reputation was far from repaired. In 2023 and 2024, more technical problems emerged. Loose bolts, incorrectly installed rudder components, faulty wheels, and now blown-out fuselage panels reignited safety concerns. Worse yet, a leaked video from a Boeing factory showed workers admitting they wouldn't feel safe flying on the planes they built. In one segment, a technician even confirmed that old, used parts were being fitted into newly delivered aircraft. Airlines around the world began inspecting their Boeing fleets and found shocking discrepancies. Loose rivets, incomplete assembly, missing fasteners, and reused components that had no place in a new commercial jet. Boeing is now in crisis on multiple fronts. Investors have lost confidence, regulators have launched new investigations, passenger trust has eroded, and the company continues to face class action lawsuits and legal challenges. While Boeing is trying to course correct by changing leadership, tightening quality controls, and cooperating with investigators, it may take years, if not decades, to rebuild the brand it once proudly stood for. The story of Boeing is more than just a series of accidents or technical faults. It is a story of what happens when a company built on engineering excellence shifts its priorities toward speed, profit, and market dominance at the cost of safety. In the skies, where human lives are at stake, such compromises can have tragic consequences. For now, Boeing remains one of the biggest aircraft manufacturers in the world, but the brand's once sterling reputation has been badly tarnished. Whether it can regain the trust of passengers, pilots, regulators, and airlines is a question only time and transparency will answer.